Our presenter tonight is Ray Grothaus, and he is a local historian. He's been a volunteer with the Historical Society for over 30 years. If you've been here before, you know that Ray is an excellent speaker and very entertaining. So would you please help me give a warm welcome to Ray.
Well, maybe this is going to work. Hey, Joe, how's it sound now? Sounds good to you? All right, let me get this out of the way. How about that?
There you go.
All right, how about that? Welcome. We're glad you're here. I usually ask this question, but tonight it's going to be moot, but I'll ask it anyway. Who's been to Chester Park? My cousin Ron has been to Chester Park. It was no longer a park at the time, but he's definitely been there. Chester Park was located at what we now call 4747 Spring Grove Avenue. And I know that because I reported there for work every day for 30 years. You worked there.
What is that?
So it's down east of Spring Grove Cemetery, west of Mitchell Avenue. That's the property. It has quite a history to it. Again, the waterworks has been there since 1955, 56. So before that, it did have quite a history. But so you're near Spring Grove Cemetery, and just go a little farther east towards Mitchell, and you see the offices there. Just imagine that's where this was located at the time. This is going to be a really short meeting if this don't work. Hey. Yeah, it's going to be a long night if this don't work. Before it became Chester Park, shortly after the Civil War started, our government needed somewhere to rally the troops. It served as a boot camp called Camp Harrison, named for William Henry Harrison, down North Bend way. It was temporary, as all these camps were, but this was really temporary because they were already building Camp Dennison. Camp Dennison is named for the governor of Ohio at the time. So he said, well, until that gets going, let's get something over here. So it's the same piece of property. Camp Harrison, same piece of property. Hey. So there's a close-up look of it. So all of our Boy Scouts had these. Same piece of property. This is George Nelson Stone. George served in the Civil War. He's not originally from Cincinnati, but when the war was over, he came to Cincinnati. And he became a very successful businessman here in town. He was president of what we knew as Cincinnati Bell Telephone. He owned a couple banks. He owned a lot of horses. Very big shot here in town. So him and his group in 1875 purchased the land from the government, and they were going to put, since they had so many horses and they really liked trotting at the time, they were going to have a trotting racetrack there. And so this is our boy George up there riding one of his horses, and he used one of his favorite horses was named Lady Chester. Guess what he did with that name? He made some more money, Dottie Kay says. Yeah, so he called it Chester Park. And originally Chester Park was just for the horses, but they had a stage and they had entertainment. So they had military bands would come and play. Vaudeville, a lot of vaudeville. In 1885, this guy, John L. Sullivan, he came and had a heavyweight fight and he won right there. My office was right where the stage was.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a plaque there. Don't believe that, I mean that. So they had entertainment, they had racing. Another thing that was popular along with the horses was bicycles. In the late 19th century, they had bicycles. And in 1890, what we know as Cincinnati Metro, what they know as Cincinnati Street Railway, purchased the property. And they called them trolley parks. So they would build a park, or in this case, buy a park, and then build a line to it so that people show up. Coney Island was too far away. That didn't happen with Coney Island. But here, at the Cincinnati Street Railway, they created Route 15 to drum up business. And they built their mechanic shops, so all these out there. And this building has only been gone for about 20 years.
Oh, really?
This is the Honda, the Superior Honda now. But so they bought this property. They put in more amusements. They started to put in rides. But this is where they worked on all their trolley cars. Was in these buildings and in these buildings. And again, this is a tower clock that was still there 20 years ago. Now it's a auto parts store, and at least for this calendar year, Taft Brewing has a bar there. You can see the track that they laid out. They built a clubhouse, some other rooms for amusements. The warehouses were here, where they did the repair shops were here. You can see these are from bicycles. The club championship bicycle races at Chester Park yesterday attracted attendance, gratifying in the extreme to the promoters. I don't know if that meant 15 people showed or 15,000. I don't know. And there you go. There's the bicycles. So they're racing around that track we just showed you, and there's their first roller coaster in the background,
Oh, my
the
goodness.
Scenic Railway.
Wow.
Before this place was shuttered, they had 9 different roller coasters there. You'd think it was Cedar Park or something. So here's the front door. Here's that clock tower of the repair shops. This front door went through many changes through the years. That's one iteration of it. You see the streetcar they got in front.
Yeah.
They built it and they invented their streetcar line just so they could attract people to the park. Where they had amusements, they had rides, they had food, and they had beer. Until Prohibition showed up. They had beer. So there's a wonderful aerial of it. This is Spring Grove Avenue. This is Mitchell Avenue. That goes off the picture. As you can see, there's a rather large body of water there. Here's the clubhouse. We're going to see a lot about that later. Here's their boardwalk. And here's where all the amusements took place. There are 2 roller coasters in place in this photograph. There's one right here that goes on this side and comes back. And there's one over here on the west side of the property. They had 2 of them at that time. This is just where you come in, stay out of the sun. This building right here is still there. All the rest of this is gone.
Wow.
That is the Cincinnati, Hamilton, and Dayton Railroad running along the back here. This was a lumber company that was there. Most of us are old enough to remember the lumber company. If you ever made your way to Spring Grove Cemetery, you saw that lumber company. It was called Farrin, F-A-R-R-I-N. So they got an island in the middle, and they have, it serves 2 purposes. One, it's a walkway to go from one side of the lake to the other, but it separates swimmers from boaters.
Oh.
Just another look at it. This is Spring Grove Cemetery. There's a much better look at the railway coming along the back. Here's Spring Grove. Here's your roller coaster. Here's your other roller coaster. Here's this wonderful clubhouse we're going to see in a minute. And there's the lake. All this right there on Spring Grove Avenue. So when they built this clubhouse, they did it up right. It was huge. Served a lot of meals in that place. Served a lot of beer in that place. Had a lot of entertainment in that place. Wonderful walkways to lead you throughout the park. They had their own opera house there. Not that opera's that popular in 2025. But this is the opera building over here. This all comes from just a racing park and then a bicycle park. And now they've turned it into an amusement park. It never made it to a theme park. We'll hear about that next month. What's the difference between an amusement park and a theme park when we talk about Coney Island? There's another view of it. Not exactly ADA compatible these days. You really had to want to get up there on that veranda. Lightning rod. But it was a beautiful place. It was 28 acres. Lots of entertainment. Here's one of the roller coasters. It's called the Coaster. They really went all out for it. Food, peanuts, snacks, amusements down here below. You can see the date of it because of the way they're dressed. Long dresses, and the men are in suits and ties and wearing their derbies. And it's July. What were they thinking? Oh, wait, we have a lake. Let's go take a dip. So this is actually from a map, Sanborn Maps, and it really shows all the different buildings and the coasters and the dance hall. And for a minute, near the end of its run, they tried to change its name from Chester Park to Rainbow Park. It didn't stick. It was like calling Riverfront Stadium when they changed it to Synergy Field. Nobody called it Synergy Field. Well, Joe Nuxall say, it'll always be Riverfront Stadium on this broadcast.
Right.
So same thing happened here, but you can see it describes all the buildings. Here's the maintenance shops over here. This is Mitchell Avenue. This is Spring Road. Again, they were really fancy. Nice menu. Courtesy of Mr. Ron Grothaus. Passes. We've got a couple of passes, courtesy of the management, so you could get in for free. Gate admission, no war tax. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Not transferable, void at the option of management. So that means if I come walking in there with the card, they can tell me to turn around and get back in the next trolley that comes past, because you're not allowed in here. There's a token. Back then, now you pay $75 to get into Kings Island, I guess, I don't know. But back then, you bought tickets for every ride. Everybody remembers tickets at Coney. Yeah.
Yes.
This ride's worth one ticket, this one costs two, this one costs three. That wasn't new. Here it is, and they had a miniature railway, which is just a small train, just like Coney had. Dodgems, everybody knows what Dodgems, the Ferris wheel. Bug House, that'd be interesting. Leaping Lena, Gold Mine, the Cyclone was one of the roller coasters. Merry-go-round is obvious. George Custer car, Tilt-a-Whirl. We're familiar with all of them. And this happened to be on Monday, June 27, 1932. They had 6 free acts. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It cost $1.50. Who does math? Those were cheap tickets. This is one of the rides. Well, 2 of the rides. So here's an auto ride, which would be, like our cars that they still have at Kings Island, I'm sure. This was about as basic as they come. It's a gigantic slide that just swirls around a building. Not much to it. Here's another shot of it. Some people turned it into a sightseeing area. They would just go to the top and stand there and watch the people. You gotta look real close. But there's your grandma right there. She's coming down the slide. In that long dress. Whee! Alright, so here's the most famous ride they had there. It was called the Tickler. The Tickler, if you look closely at it, you go, what does it do? Well, the easy answer is, it's a Plinko game. And you are in a car here, and you're going bing, 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 bing. Oh, sign me up for my 15-cent ticket. I want to get the crap beat out of my body. Oh, but wait. New this season. Remodeled. Not as rough as last season. Yeah, baby. How about that? Huh? Yeah, the lawyers would have a ball with that these days. That's the Tickler. Shows. This was called Dreamland. You go in, fall asleep, I guess. It's not the Sphere, Mike. It's not the Sphere out in Vegas. More shows in here. You go to a choir, Celestial Choir. But what you can barely see, good thing we have technology, they also had 300 performing fleas. Fleas! Let's go watch the fleas. Aren't they in the lake? They're probably in the lake. They just went and caught them in the lake and brought them over here and said, dance, baby, dance. Can you imagine? People wanted to see fleas. Another version here. Here's Spring Grove Avenue. There's that clock tower that, again, was still there 20 years ago. One of the rides, one of the roller coasters. This is up here, says Vaudeville. So this is a new building that they stuck in there. Shows. Lots and lots of shows at Chester Park. Plenty of rides, but lots of shows. And they spared no expense with the architecture either, as you can tell. Not a shack. They had a miniature railway, small train, and it went all the way around that lake. 15 cents, according to the tickets we saw earlier. Yeah. Miniature railroad, Chester Park. All the way around the lake. They had a boardwalk. Why do they call it a boardwalk? It's made of boards. Literally, that's where the name came from. So there they are in their Sunday finest, walking across the boardwalk, hoping to catch the next train that's going around that beautiful lake. Their main arcade was called Hilarity Hall. So maybe the leftover fleas found their way over there, and that made it a little funnier, I don't know. But, you know, fascination, all your skee ball, all your games were in Hilarity Hall. You could also get the, you know, obligatory photograph of extremely bored people sitting in a motionless car. You know, was in Detroit last year, and we did the same thing. There's some people sat in a car and went, looks just like them. You know, it's a big day. Keep your hands inside the car at all times, and please, no selfies. I wrote that. Did you like that?
Add your 2 cents in there while I
And then there was the lake. The lake was such a wonderful attraction for this place because they could do so many things on it. They could swim in it. They could boat in it. What you're looking at here is this is set up for entertainment. Somebody's about to walk that tightrope. See his balancing pole? And these are the lights hanging down because he's going to do it at night. Yeah, not me. I'm not doing it. Lots of entertainment. There's that clubhouse. So I'm sure you had to pay extra to sit up here to watch that as he went splash. I don't know.
Ray, how deep was that lake for the top?
One more time, the third person say, how deep was that lake? I don't know, that's the same thing you just said, I don't know. I wasn't there, well, yeah, and there was no pool remaining when I went to work there, so I don't know. So they had slides here, oh, man, learn how to use the equipment, Ray, will you? So this is the excitement for kids. See how they're in their swimsuits, aren't those beautiful? Yeah, they're just wonderful. So they basically get a piece of cardboard, they take it up those steps, and they get in here and they slide down in the water. And then they get back in line and do it again. And get back in line and do it again. And just like at Coney Island, here's the lifeguard, I guess. But look, this person is in the water, you can see their head. So if he's the same age as these kids, it's no more than 5, 6 feet deep there. It's supposed to be the Statue of Liberty, sitting out in the middle of the lake. Oh, say can you see? Here we are, shooting the chutes, that's the name of that ride. So again, they climb up the steps, they jump on a piece of cardboard, here it is, looks like a toboggan, and they just slide down. And the Navy was there, just in case, you know, someone went down. Yeah, there you go, so kids standing in the water, wasn't that deep. Like the river walk at San Antonio. If you fall in, don't freak out, stand up. It's only 3 feet deep. Same thing here. And see how nice he's dressed? Oh, that's good. That's wonderful. Oh, there's that clock tower again. So you know the photographer's looking south. There's the Statue of Liberty. You can see in the background some of the structures for the roller coasters. The lake got a lot of use. It was their claim to fame. You could rent the boats, take them out. How about that? Huh? Eileen, you still got yours? How about that? You know, if I didn't know better, I'd say that was a Jack Doll special, Al, but it's not. But it sure looks like it. Those of you who knew our friend Jack Doll would say, yeah, that looks like something Jack would do. Ready for a dip. I hope they're talking about the water, not the guy in the boat. More kids swimming in the lake. Pretty exciting pool there, or slide there. As it moved along, it was hard to support at 15 cents a ride. They put a lot of people in the pool, or in the lake, but the ridership started going down by 1935. The Depression came along, and that was the end of extra money, and then Prohibition came along, and that was the end of that Sunday beer. So, they kept it open. See, there's the routes you could take. 15 is the one they invented. You could get on there no matter where you were. You could ride for 2 bits. And on June the 9th, you'd come out there anywhere between 5 a.m. Oh, man, I didn't want that shift. 5 a.m. to midnight.
Oh my God.
On this day here, and you could swim. They kept the lake open for swimming and boating. And in the winter, they actually had ice skating. The rides weren't open. So they kept it open as long as they could. Here's a wonderful shot of a streetcar parked right in front of it. There's a portion of the front door that changed through the years, like I was saying before. It wasn't the same entry all the time. But it just got harder to support. And Coney Island was really packing them in. So the Depression, Prohibition, maintenance, there was a fire. So things started going downhill for them. 1942, you can look at this picture and you can see it's not opening day. By 1942, they just couldn't keep it open anymore. a small piece of interest. It says go to the roller dome on Gilbert Avenue. The roller dome on Gilbert Avenue, roller skating, was run by a guy named Seferino. Seferino also managed the Price Hill roller rink. He managed just one on Gilbert. He managed another one up in Norwood. So this Seferino guy was all over. But again, you can tell the gates are closed. So they converted what was left. And here's the rumor. The rumor is they couldn't pay their water bill. So we shut them off. We gave them a 50-year payment plan and they couldn't keep up with it. That was a joke. You were supposed to laugh. My waterworks friends would laugh at that. And it just wasn't enough. So they shut them down. They sold, either tore down or sold all the rides. But in 1946, 47, so here's the end of it. So you can see it's all overgrown. It had been closed for quite a while. Some of it's falling down. Unlike Coney, which in 71, they knew they were going to Kings Mills in 72. They dismantled those things. This here, you can see, was falling apart. So they were able to sell some. A lot of it fell apart. And they just tore it all down, except for one they did in 1946. They installed a swimming pool, a concrete pool, called the Arena. A different address at that time, but opposite the Winton Place station, which is the train station that's out at Sharon Woods now. Swimming, diving exhibition, Olympic, AAU champs, free parking. I don't know where well, I guess you got plenty of room and all you got left is a pool. Oh, a comedy exhibition. Yeah, my dad was there, I think. So they built a pool. So they installed this pool in 46 called the Arena. See the Arena pool, still got streetcars running out there. So here's a crazy thing. So this is the road, but there's this cutout that brings a streetcar over, so it's curved like that. That was so they didn't hold up the traffic. Unlike our streetcar downtown, it just stops right in the middle there. They had pullovers, so they could get out of the way. That curved area of that sidewalk existed until 2019. And people drove by and said, "What is that for?" Until I found this picture, I didn't know. It's that curve. They've redone the road since then, it's gone. This came down in 14 or 15, I think.
It's like cobblestone.
Yeah, right. It makes it easier to work on those rails. It really does, because all I can do is pull a couple of the bricks out of the way,
Yeah.
so you can replace that steel. So that's the Arena pool. There's another sign for the Arena. This is at the end of it. Apparently it was garbage day. These buildings are still there. Peck, Hannaford, and Briggs is a steel company right there. So that building is still there. Cars are not. So it translated to the Arena. The Arena didn't last forever either. If all you got is a swimming pool, unless you got club owner or club membership, such as here on our side, Phillips, you just can't keep it open. Here in these days, I believe they shut this down because they didn't pay the water bill. Because in these days, there were no filters. They filled the pool in the morning and drained it at night. And filled it tomorrow and drained it at night. So that cost enough money right there, just filling and filling and filling. But once the Metropolitan Sewer District was formed, and you had to pay sewer on all that stuff, yeah, that'll do it. So it didn't last very long. It only lasted about 7 or 8 years, and it was gone. I mean, this poor guy climbed that ladder down there. He was trying to play basketball, but they already stole the rim. They left the backboard in the pole, but the rim's gone. Well, Natali shoved it down and broke it, you know. So that's all that was left of it. Everything just falls apart. So what's there now?
Right.
The Greater Cincinnati Water Works. It's their administrative offices. It's where your bill is generated.
Right.
It's when there's a water main break out there on the street and water's going all over the place, the trucks are in the back parking lot of this and they come out and fix it for you. When I was there, when you didn't pay your water bill, I show up in your front yard, turn your water off. That's there.
He was a nice guy.
No, I wasn't very nice, Ryan. I wasn't nice at all. One short story, I was bad. One short story. So I was in somebody's yard and it was December the 22nd. They gave me a job to go turn this person's water off. December 22nd, that's right. Oh, December 22nd. Yeah, but I got a work order. And I pulled up in the yard and there's some dude playing football with his son. And they're from here to that wall away from me, just throwing the ball. He said, "What are you doing?" "Here, turn your water off." He goes, "You ain't turning my water off a couple days before Christmas, are you?" I said, "It wasn't a couple days before Christmas when this bill was due." How do you think that went? That's right. So that's what's there now. So he called me a few choice words, threw the football down. He came running after me, but I had a great big pipe wrench in my hand, so I wasn't worried. Not that I'm going to hit him, but he didn't know that. And I said, "Get in the house. 5917-700. Call him up. See what you can work out." He turned around, went in the house, and I went, turned the water off, got in my truck, and drove off. Merry Christmas. Couple days before Christmas, that's right. Well, that's it. That's a short one this time. Lights, questions? What do you want to know about Chester Park?
How deep was the lake?
What's that?
How deep was the lake?
6 feet. I can now answer that question.
How deep was the pool?
6 feet. Well, it looked like about 10 feet from that picture, yeah. There were no diving boards. Well, they had to be diving boards. They said they had AAU diving championship. So they had to have diving board, at least one.
Well, you're gonna be finding it down.
So the pool shut that, the pool or the park?
Oh, the total wasn't the
Well,
part of the pool.
No, remember they tore down everything, and then a couple years later they built the pool. Totally different owners. So the park stopped operating as a park in 42. The pool was built in 46, and it went out of business, and the city of Cincinnati purchased it in 54.
Is the water still there? The lake?
No, there's that building that showed you is there.
Oh, they filled it. Okay.
I hope they filled it in.
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah, no lake, no pool. A lot of water though, but no lake, no pool.
So what would they do with all the lake, with all that water?
Well, you just drain it. Every lake has a dam in it that keeps the water in it and an overflow spot. And if you're looking closely at any of those pictures, you can see an overflow is a great big box that was there. Every lake has an overflow because it would just rain, and if it rains for a long time, it's got to go somewhere. So there's always an overflow and there's always a dam that keeps it up. And all they do is just kick out the dam, which is the backhoe that does it, not your foot. And let the water run out on Spring Grove Avenue. Well, we saved the fleas though.
300 of them.
300 fleas, dancing fleas. How about that? Yeah.
Go find a better actor than fleas.
What else? Yes.
I had a great aunt who died in the 1970s, and she was maybe 90 then. Well, anyway, she won a beauty contest at Chester Park when she was maybe 20 years old. And she had an old, like, sepia picture in her house of her, and it had, like, a banner on her, winner Chester Park beauty contest or something.
That's great. That's great. Well, now you know where she was.
Yeah.
You know exactly where she was. She was probably wearing one of those outfits. That was probably her in there. 'Cause that's about 1910. That's about our time. She was the one in the orange, I think. Well, who that one was. That's it? Well, thanks a lot for coming. If you would be so kind as, thank you, Michael. We want you to come next month as well. It's going to be about Coney Island. There'll probably be a lot more pictures from Coney Island because it lasted a lot longer. We do have our, as Karen mentioned, our greenhouse renovation project going. We'd love to have you participate with us and come help us out. We'd love to have you come and volunteer with us. We're all volunteers, although they paid me the princely sum of $25 today. Most of that was spent moving these chairs around when we got here. So we'd love to have you come. If you have an interest in history at all, we'd love you to come help us out. If you have pictures from your family who is from Delhi, we'd love you to come up. We can scan them while you wait most times and give them right back to you to keep the history of Delhi going. That's why we exist. That's our mission.